University of Wisconsin Board of Regents approving a system-wide tuition hike for the upcoming academic year. It increases student tuition by at least 4%, but universities can decide if they would raise that to 5%. Emily Byer joining us this morning live out at UW Green Bay. Emily, which universities are increasing tuition this year?
Yeah, Tammy, good morning. All 13 UW schools said they would adopt that raise except for UW Green Bay here. The tuition increase for the full semester at UW Green Bay next year will range between $174 and $346 depending on the student's home state. The money generated from this increase will go towards the university's usual tuition expenses such as paying educators and support staff as well as maintaining facilities used by the students. Chancellor Mike Alexander says the university wants to remain an affordable option for every student, contributing to their reason for not taking the optional 1% increase. He says rising enrollment is the primary contributor to their ability to move forward without it.
We're really proud of the enrollment growth that we've had over the last year. So we've increased our population by 25%, our student population by 25% in the last 5 years. So that definitely does help us from a financial standpoint to make sure that we're still able to offer a great education.
Now, the chancellor adding that he understands that this tuition increase could be challenging for some students. However, he believes the school can offer students enough resources so they can also succeed. We'll send it